Welcome back to the Shiels Golf Show podcast, everybody. I am your host. It's episode 139. It's open week, and I could not be any more excited. How you doing, Guy? You well?
I'd say I'm more excited.
Let's
have an excited off.
I'm so...
Throw a beer, Matt, if you're excited. Launch that across the room.
I'm so... Just dent the table. I'm so excited that, it's all built to this. This is it. The 150th Open at St Andrews, the home of golf. So much drama, so much excitement. Who is going to be... You know what? Never ever before, ever in my life, thought so much about who's going to win it. But not in a point of trying to work out. It's such a massive win, this one. Yeah. Imagine winning the 150th at St Andrews. You win majors, yeah, all well and good, right? Mm-hmm. To win the 150th Open is just astronomically huge.
There was something, I think it was Jack Nicklaus that said, you've got to win the Open at St Andrews to be a legend of the game or considered a great or whatever. Everyone might have different opinions on that, but this year it does feel like, I said, the 150 is ginormous, but the fact it's back at the home of golf, it's not been there for 7 years, it does feel incredibly different. And like you said, on Sunday, somebody's going to stand there on the Swilcan Bridge holding that jug like that, getting amazing pictures. Who will that be?
It's unbelievable.
Is it going to be Tiger?
The weather, well, we'll see. The weather looks like it's going to be at least dry. There's going to be a couple of windy days, which St Andrews definitely needs. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, there could be some really low scores around there. As you're listening to this podcast right now, me and Guy are driving up from our home here in the northwest of England all the way to St Andrews, because we are going to be there from Tuesday to pretty much you're there till the weekend. I'm there over the weekend. It's going to be electrifying. The crowds, the atmosphere, the nightlife, being able to see loads of people, to be able to see Tiger walking, doing stuff. I'd literally watch him do anything.
I think as well. Yeah, okay. I think that's the thing we've said this before, and we'll say it till the cows come home. The beautiful thing, the amazing thing, the intriguing thing with St Andrews isn't just the golf course, it's the town. So at the Open, it's not just like you've got the golf, and once it goes dark and the golf's finished, you go back to hotel. You've got the nightlife, you've got the banter zones. You're going to be walking around your top off at 1:30 in the morning, singing. Easily.
I'll be doing that Eric Anders lang shot from in front of the Dunvegan. Yes. Well, we got incredibly, we've been lucky to do some amazing things. I've played with the Old Course with Tom Watson in reverse. I've hit shots from the Old Course Hotel. I've played with famous golfers.
More time with Guy Charnock.
But last week we got gifted something which could possibly top everything.
We did.
VIP passes to the Dunvegan pub.
Wow.
I mean, hopefully there's not many of them around, because doesn't matter how big the queue is. Doesn't matter how busy it is. We can just wander up there, flash the badge, we're in. Pints on me.
Guinness
on me. So it's going to be a really exciting week. If you are there, please come and say hello.
That?
It's just going to be,
come
hello. And say hello. It's going to be mega, absolutely ridiculous. We've also, this episode is a guest episode. So you'll notice on the time, this is a long podcast today. And we are also, through this week, going to be taking the podcast equipment up with us. Fingers crossed, we're going to release some exclusive audio-only podcasts explaining describing our Open experience while we're there.
Well, we've said they're going to be audio-only, so they could potentially be 5 pints of Guinness deep. There's no... That could happen for you.
Easy. By 10 o'clock in the morning. So we'll get a few podcasts out for you this week, but today's episode, we are joined by legend Adam Scott. Masters winner 2013, one of the best golfers for such a long period of time, 22 years. Yeah. He turned pro in the year 2000, and obviously one of the best golf swings that's ever been seen, he's known for how beautiful his golf swing is. He's a very, very nice man.
Unbelievably nice man.
One of the nicest guys we've ever met or filmed with.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd almost put him as number one spot so far. Yeah. And that's no disrespect to anyone else. He was just so brilliant with his time. We filmed a match at King's Barnes that'll be coming very soon, where I did a 10-shot challenge against him. I started 10 under par. He started level par. It was very, very windy. We had a fantastic match. That'll be coming very soon. And he did this fantastic podcast. We filmed it in Kingsbarns, which is an amazing place, by the way.
Unbelievable golf course.
We filmed it in Kingsbarns in the locker room.
Yeah, a bit weird.
But it wasn't weird though, was it? Because it was like a fancy locker room.
That was a locker room, but for most golf clubs, that would have been like a suite. It was unbelievable. And like you said, he came in and I was very starstruck because he was, like I said, he turned pro in 2001, I think it was. I've literally grown up knowing who Adam Scott was. And what was mad, I did some obviously research before the podcast. He's ended the year, every calendar year he's ended it, in the top 50 in the world since the year 2001, which is in 20 years at that elite level. It's outrageous. And one thing, I mean, he was an unbelievable gentleman. He was so good. And one thing I came away thinking is he had a spell, I think it was 2011, 2015, where he came like top 10 in 11 majors. So he was so competitive. But I'm actually so happy he has won a major, because if he hadn't, he would have to go down as the best golfer ever not to. And nobody really wants that, obviously, title. And the fact he won the Masters, he's got that green jacket, he's going back every year, which we'll come on to massively in the podcast for that dinner with the champions. He deserves that.
He talks about his win, obviously, at Augusta in 2013, but he also delves quite deeply into his loss in 2012 at Royal Lytham, which I didn't know if it was going to be a bit of a touchy subject, but he definitely touched on it.
It almost made him that, didn't it, I think?
Now, one thing, before we got onto the actual podcast with Adam Scott, we've got a big announcement as well coming in a second, but one thing that we just wanted to make very clear, because I'm sure we're going to get it in comments and everything else, we are not investigative journalists. So we're not going in there to probe these guests and kind of, make it awkward or try and get too much out of him. It was a conversation. We wanted to dive into his historic past, his future, what the game's going to look like. Now, little bits of that did touch on potential other tours, but we weren't going to go in there and go, are you joining Liv? So there's not loads and loads of Liv talk in this, because we felt we needed to respect his position.
I think, you're right. If you want that kind of content, this isn't the right place. If you go to Sky Sports, go to, these other media outlets who ask the really hard-hitting questions. And we have a guest on, we treat them like they are a guest. We ultimately just are two golf fans who want to sit down with someone who we look up to and chat to. We want to make them feel comfortable. And I think, there wasn't really much about that kind of stuff. There was
a little point about how new golf pros are being motivated for the future, which he touches on, and that was a few interesting points there. But again, it's up to him whether he joins, whether he doesn't. He didn't give us any indication at all. He just felt like that at the moment he loves playing golf competitively, and all his focus on was the Open, because we filmed this last week. So he got in early, played at Adair Manor in the JP McManus Golf Day. He then jumped over on his jet to Scotland, and he has preparation. And there's not, out of all the people now, I would absolutely love it if he won.
100%. He's one of my favourites.
So that's going to be really good.
There was one thing in the podcast I said, which annoyed me. That after I said it, I was kicking myself, because he's played in the Open at St Andrews in the year 2000, 2005, 10, 15, and now 22. So he will have played in the Open 5 times at the old course. And I put that to him and said, surely that's the most of anybody in the field. And he went, oh no, Tiger did 95 as well. And I went, oh yeah. And I knew that because Tiger won the US Amateur in 90, I think it was 4, 5, and 6. And obviously off the back of each of those got into the Open. And as I said, I was like, oh yeah, I knew that. So it was one of those little tiny things. I was like, oh.
There's also, I saw today, I didn't know this either, Ian Poulter's done those 5 as well.
Oh, has he?
So he did 2000. I only saw it today. 2000, 205, 210, 215, and then...
I forgot, by the way, I was listening to a really good podcast, 5 Live have done about the Open. I completely forgot, even though I was there in 15, that Rory missed out from breaking his leg, hurting his leg playing football.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because he won the 14 at Hoylake, and then 15, he missed out for hurting it. I don't know if he broke his leg or just hurt his leg playing football with his friends.
A few days before, didn't he, or a week before?
And that, they were saying to him in this little interview, did that kind of throw you off then? You had such momentum at the time.
Because that was his last major win.
Yeah, 14 was his last one.
Wow.
8 years with that one. We've mentioned this before, but it's incredible. And I think I'd love to see Tiger win. My absolute dream would be Tiger win. I'll be honest, I don't think that's going to happen. And part of me has a feeling this could be when he bows out. I'd hate to see it. Well, I'd love and I'd hate it. I'd hate to see it because I don't want Tiger to retire. I'd love to see it because I'll probably be there. I'd love to see Adam Scott win after what a nice guy he is. But also, it would be really nice for Rory to get one. I think he is, he's a living legend, let's be honest. He's done such a good, had such a good career so far. He's not won a major for 8 years. To finally break his duck at the old course, That would be special.
I'd tell you which golfer, though, I can't look past at the moment. It's not a big surprise, Xander Schauffele. He's just won Travellers, JP McManus, Scottish Open. He's going into the Open as like...
That's some run.
He's won 3 tournaments in a row.
That's incredible.
So, I mean, JP McManus, obviously, it's only a 2-day kind of bit of a charity hit and giggle, as they would call it. It obviously looks amazing. But the fact that he's going and he's in such great form, there's probably going to be a bit of fatigue there. But
there's so many, though. We said this we had a little bit of a guess who we thought would do well, and I think I went with Scotty Scheffler. Who else did I can't remember? Rory and somebody else who's doing really well.
I've changed my 3 now.
Go on, who are you?
I'm going Adam Scott, and Adam Scott.
But that's the thing, though. Genuinely, you look at the names of the people that are playing. There's so many guys who could win it, and you won't be surprised if any of them won. So it's going to be so competitive, so exciting. I can't wait for it. The slogan for this Open, I'm sure you've seen this, is everything has led to this. And obviously, you can say about any moment in time, everything in life has led to this moment, weirdly. But this does feel like everything really, think of like old Tom Morris back in the day, and, when it was the belt and it went to the claret jug, and everything literally said the 150th. There's no bigger potentially in our lifetime. Hopefully it'll be for the 200th, but who knows? But yeah, it's going to be special.
It just feels like there's no major that's ever had this buzz, ever.
No, not in my lifetime.
So, excited about that. And like I said, Adam Scott's going to come on soon. But before we get to that, I've got a huge announcement. I have a brand new sponsor. You might have noticed.
I'm gonna guess
a few little golden eagles dotted about. So yeah, I have signed with Lyle & Scott, the clothing brand UK company. As you guys have been on my journey with me, you noticed back in the kind of middle of 2020 that I parted ways with Nike, and I've not signed with anyone since because no right brand has come forward as of yet. Mm-hmm. And I'm really happy to sign with Lyle & Scott, really happy to work with them in the future. The clothing is phenomenal. It's, again, similar idea to why I didn't sign with Nike. You're not going to see me shoving it down your throats. I'm going to be wearing the clothes, the hat, the apparel. But that's kind of as far as it goes.
Yeah, and I think what's great is that you put the Instagram post on the other day announcing it. And what was really unique was there was so many comments going, oh my days, I love Lyle & Scott. There's quite a number of comments. It's great to see it coming back because it was massive in England about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, and it really has got a resurgence now. But there's also a lot of comments, I'm guessing more from US, maybe younger people who didn't know what the brand was, and that's quite unique because over here, it's a really well-known, authentic golf brand. Obviously, Greg Norman won the Open, I believe, wearing the brand as well, so it's been around for years. But obviously, you wearing it will get in front of a lot more different eyeballs, and I think it's going to do good things to the brand, and it's good gear. Yeah,
it is really, really good gear. So you'll see me wearing it. Like I say, a lot of US guys were a bit confused about the brand, had not heard of it, but hopefully that is going to help the brand grow a little bit more in America. It fits brilliantly. It looks stylish. It's modern. It's not too ridiculously pricey.
That's a big thing. That is, I mean, yeah, like the gear, it's very good quality, but it isn't stupidly priced. And I think that's something that you kind of, not owe to the audience, but if you're wearing stuff that is ridiculously overpriced, it's quite hard for people to sometimes swallow. That stuff isn't, but it's great quality. Yeah. And you know what? You've really slimmed down. You look very good.
Thanks, pal. I've been working hard, actually.
You have?
Been running a bit more this weekend and been working hard, eating healthy. I'm looking forward to getting in even better shape and hopefully working out on my golf as well a little bit, trying to pick up some extra.
Don't get too ripped.
Extra club head speed. I want to start getting really ripped. I've got to a point now where I'm like, okay, I'm definitely happier than where I was 2 or 3 months ago. And I'm thinking, what could happen next? What could happen next? Who knows?
4-pack.
Maybe a little push towards when I'm getting 40, try and rip up. But we'll see what happens. So yeah, big announcement. Lyle & Scott, be wearing it in all the videos, wearing it in the podcast. And it's a very, very, very nice gear. Right, without further ado, what you've really been waiting for, our sit down, deep dive with Adam Scott in the locker room at Kings Barnes. Sit back, relax, enjoy this, and enjoy the rest of the week for the Open. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. We really do appreciate it.
No worries.
I know you're a busy man. We're here in Scotland.
Yeah.
It's the week before the Open.
Yeah.
We're at a beautiful Kings Barnes. Oddly enough, in the locker room.
Yeah. A little bit weird.
But it's a very nice locker room.
It is. Look at this. Look at the windows, the natural light.
And we're going to go out and play some golf after this.
Yeah.
And it looks really, really, really windy.
It's picking up, that's for sure.
We're going to have a fun little match, which will be coming out on YouTube very soon. But obviously, you've just flown in from Ireland after playing in the JP McManus Pro-Am.
Yeah.
Adair Manor. You were just saying how ridiculously stunning it was.
Oh, it's was a great event. Look, it was unbelievable. Everything about it, just phenomenal. And the condition of the golf course is just outrageous.
I almost want to see it to believe it. You said it was almost better condition than Augusta.
Well, it could be the best conditioned course in the world, on it.
I think
we need to go.
Yeah.
We really do. We were debating coming this week, actually. We had an opportunity to come, but it didn't quite work out. But yeah, I think that's highly on the agenda.
It does look absolutely pure.
Talking about what's looking unbelievable at the moment. Obviously, you're here for the Open.
Yeah.
At St Andrews, the home of golf. I had a little run around the golf course this morning. You had a wander out there as well.
That's just you, Rick, trying to flex that this morning's done a 5K run, by the way.
Sorry, there is a medal coming some point.
Yeah, we'll post your medal for that run.
It looks phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looked really green.
Yeah.
Like way more. Obviously, it's been over quite a wet yet sunny period of time, so that the golf course does look really, really green compared to when it can get burnt out.
Yeah.
What does Scotland, what does St Andrews kind of mean to you?
Well, this is a special one, isn't it? I mean, we've been delayed a couple of years going back to St Andrews. 2015 was the last time we were there. This is the 150th. It is St Andrews, the old course, Claret Jug, Open Championship. It's the golf event of the year, really. Let's face it, it's the biggest event of the year.
Do you love the golf course?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else like it. A lot of crazy stuff going on that could never be replicated today, probably without someone being hung for it. It's really wild stuff going on out there, but it works.
Yeah, it's a golf course that if it was flat or a quiet day, shall I say, it's very scoreable. And if we see that in the Open, there could be some outrageously low scores. But if you get a day like today where it's windy, you were saying it's forecast to be quite windy, and they can tuck some of the pins and they can get sneaky.
Yeah.
It's not easy either, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, the wind is the defense of most links, let's face it. Some are tougher than others, but there is so much room at St Andrews to play in the calm conditions. We've seen it. I mean, just even the last couple goes at St Andrews in the calmer conditions, Rory's shooting low numbers. I mean, it's right in his wheelhouse. He's got to be licking his chops coming up here to St Andrews and hoping for light winds. But everyone is kind of playing that aggressive bomb game, and if it isn't windy, they're going to have to push the pins really close. And I think they can. I think they can do it because green speeds aren't crazy around the links, and they can push them a yard or two closer to the trouble, and I think they probably should. I think we need a bit of a test out there.
They almost can't get too fast, the greens, can they, because of the wind?
Yeah.
Like suddenly the ball would be rolling all around the green, wouldn't they, really, if it got them too fast?
Yeah, absolutely. So that allows them to get pretty creative with where they can push the pins to. I mean, tucking them around the bunker edges, certainly on the first few holes going out, a few over the bunker, it's just down slope from the bunker. And you end up seeing guys putting from 45 feet all the time, 60 feet coming back. But that's what they're going to need to do if it's not so windy. Hopefully there's a bit of wind, and I think they don't have to do anything too creative at all.
So this is just over a week before the Open starts. You've just arrived into Scotland now. What's your kind of itinerary for the next few days? How do you kind of like to prep into Open week?
Yeah, this week before the Open is like one of my favourite weeks, golfing-wise, for me. I often come up early the week before, and I like to all majors really, but especially the Open. Adjusting to playing the links is not that quick of an adjustment, at least for me. We just play in the air and it's target golf and point and shoot. But if you can figure out how the ground can really help you on the links, there's a moment in every round probably where you can be a bit creative and get it to where you need to be better than going up in the air and maybe bringing in some more trouble. So I spend this week like really challenging myself to kind of bring my vision down to the ground a bit, play on the ground, use the ground, and get a feel for how it is. Now, if it's a bit green and a bit slower, maybe a little bit less of that, because it's not so fiery, you might be able to control a bit better. But I still think even if it is a green links, that you got to use the ground to your advantage where you can.
So obviously this isn't your first rodeo. Is it 5 times you've done St Andrews down the Open? Did you do it in 2000?
2000 was my first major. I did the qualifiers. I went through the regional qualifier. I played in somewhere outside Glasgow in the regional. Then I went to Loch Lomond and played the tournament at Loch Lomond. And then I came over here to Leven Links and played the 36-holer on the Monday and qualified for the Open.
No, and did you just turn pro at that time?
Yeah, it was like 4 weeks into being a pro. So it was a good... Nice start.
That's quite cool. I never knew that. That's quite cool.
There can't be anybody else in the field then who's played the Open at St Andrews more than you will have done, because I don't think Tiger played in '95. Did he?
He did.
Oh, did he?
He did. Yeah,
I think he did. So he must be one more than you.
Yeah, my buddy Steve Webster, I think, was the low amateur. The reason I know is because he told me he was the low amateur that year, and Tiger was in the field. So
because he won the US Amateur course. He did.
Yeah. So Tiger has. But, you know, I'm up in that age bracket now where we're just old on tour. I remember when I got on tour and, you know, around that time and come to the Open and I saw Fred Couples and he was maybe 42 years old and I'm like, oh, wow, he's so old. That's me now.
That's where you are now. That's where you've got Min Woo Lee looking up to you now. Right. Oh, there's Adam Scott. Yeah. We were talking about, obviously, we've had Min Woo on the channel a few times and played with him round here, actually, and the old course. And the good news was he went on to win a tournament soon after being on the podcast. So I'd like to think we've got some level of lucky charm. Yeah. Hopefully it's going to work for you. He seems like a good lad and he seems like obviously a baller.
Oh yeah. No, he's got all the arsenal in the bag there, you know, and some people can crack it straight away and he's got it all, like winning the Scottish like he did last year in a great field. You know, he knows. But just piecing it all together can take some time. Like, you know, it took me a long time to figure out how to get really competitive in the majors. You know, my first 10 years of my career, it was just like a lottery whether I was going to play good at a major or not. And I didn't play good very often. And then I had a period of time where I just had it all figured out and was threatening at each one, which was fun. But, you know, Min, he's so good. I think he's really close now. He's a few seasons in. I mean, he should figure it out, and he's young too. It's ridiculous.
How much does he lean someone like that, who's obviously you've got a common connection from Australia? You seem to have got a bit, he seems to obviously look up to you. Does he bend your ear much on advice? Does he say, Adam, how am I going to get around the old course? Does he ask for advice? And also, are you willing to give advice, or is it kind of like, why should I give advice to some competitor?
Yeah, no. I think one of the nice things about the game, certainly through my career, is, you know, everyone's been really open to sharing some tips, let's say. You know, it's not my job to coach him around the old course. I think I'd probably mess him up more than I could help him, you know.
On purpose.
Yeah, of course. You know, so
miss right on every hole.
Challenge the right side.
Play it really high. Play really high in the air.
Yeah, just take it down the right everywhere. But no, like that. I think they play so different than kind of how I learned to play too. You know, I am almost learning how the new or modern game is played a bit by watching these guys as well. So,
has your game changed a lot in the last 10 years or so? Like ball speed, club head speed, distance has become a massive factor with the introduction of launch monitors and stuff as well. Have you strived for that? I mean, you're not obviously a short hitter. Have you strived to gain more distance and speed?
I mean, I've tinkered at times for sure to see what happens. Yeah, when I hit it long, I hit it wider too. That's what happens for most people, I think. You know, look, Bryson did an amazing job of gaining all that speed, but keeping it pretty much on the golf course. And there was a period there where it was frightening, the accuracy with that length. Hard to maintain, obviously, but, you know, I have my own golf swing DNA that I've had forever, and it's hard to work against that. I'm so far in now. Like, I can do what I can do, and I think it's still enough to kind of pick apart any golf course. But I'm not able to carry it like Rory over bunkers at 340, you know, and step on one. That's not where my game is now, and I'm not set up to do that. I've kind of got dialed back equipment to play how I like to play.
We're going to come on to equipment shortly because obviously you've had a bit of a transitional period recently. But is there, I would say, arguably, you would be known to have the best looking golf swing in the world. I can be your hype man.
Well,
right?
yeah,
I can be your hype man.
thanks.
You have.
Yeah.
Does that kind of come with levels of like pressure? Like, have you almost always, are you into technique first off? And also, do you always kind of come back to this aesthetic looking, or would you sacrifice aesthetic looking swing for more distance, power, etc.?
Am I into technique? I mean, I know a little bit about golf technique, I guess. I probably I didn't learn it early or anything like that. But I know a little bit. But I wouldn't be a great coach, I don't think. But I think what fools a lot of people with my swing is the rhythm. You know, it's a nice flowing rhythm. And it's just kind of evolved. I mean, it was a slightly different, faster rhythm when I was younger, very much like young Tiger, I guess.
Yeah.
And that was on purpose from me. I was just trying to swing like him, like everyone was,
of course.
you know. And it's just kind of evolved. I haven't really changed my swing.
You did really well at copying his homework, basically.
Yeah.
You saw him went, I'm going to copy that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, everyone was having a go, and somehow I managed to match it up pretty good for a while. And then, of course, I worked with Butch, and he also found we had similar attributes, so we worked on some similar things. And my swings really just evolved from there. So I actually don't watch my golf swing at all now. I mean, I haven't really seen a swing since maybe last year at Augusta. So
really,
nearly 18 months.
When you say that, do you mean swing from an analysis standpoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
I see occasionally a swing on television or something like that, but that doesn't allow me to like pause it and check every spot and, you know.
And would you? Do you do that on purpose? Do you not analyse your swing on purpose?
I think it's better I don't look. You know, I have a coach and I trust him, and he does a great job with me, and he's done a great job with me for over 10 years. And because I can get into like the aesthetics and go, I'd like to see my left wrist a little flatter at the top, and then square the club face a bit more. But if I start fiddling with that, and I'll move stuff and everything starts moving, and all of a sudden it's not good at all.
Well, that's it, because your coach will say to you, well, actually flattening that wrist, you're going to end up hitting it more left. And you go, I know, but I like it. I like it flatter.
Like
you know,
it looks,
yeah, exactly. I think people can get trapped into that.
I think, and one of the things that I was blown away by, we're doing some research before you came, and since I think it was 2001 till the present day, the end of every year, you've been in the world's top 50 golfers, which is insane.
Yeah.
And I think Andrew said before, is it 86 majors you've competed in? 84 majors without missing one in a row. That is absolutely insane. Like, how have you stayed so consistent and also like injury free to play in every major for 84 in a row? What? I mean, obviously there's lots of secrets to guess, but what has been the secret to that?
The longevity thing, I don't know. I think, you know, I was lucky. I had some talent early on. And like I said before, I didn't play very good in the first 40 majors, we'll call it. I had a few top 10s, but never really featured. And but I was, when my good golf was good back then, it was really good, and I'd win a couple tournaments a year for most of those years, but I could never take it up to that level. And there was this guy, Tiger, making it hard for anyone to actually believe they could play at that level.
Of course.
Like I turned pro and I had the dreams of being world number one and winning all these tourneys, and then like Tiger in 2000 was making, you know, for 10 years that dream was just not going to happen.
When Tiger was at that absolute pomp, did it obviously? What was it like to witness? Did you think like, when I'm on, obviously I can compete with this guy, but it was just that he was just on just so often? What was it like to see? Was he just head and shoulders above everybody else?
I think everyone or all the top players initially seeing him thought, yeah, when I'm on I'll be able to compete. And then when they were on, they couldn't compete. You know, you just couldn't. It was just every bit of his game and makeup was just at a level above everybody else. And it's hard to explain. I've tried to explain it to some of the younger guys who weren't on tour until maybe 2010 or something, and didn't see like this ridiculous stuff early on in the 2000s. But it's hard to explain that he was that much better than everybody else. And I had a fun one with Martin Keimer, who was not grasping like how someone could be so much better, and he'd just been number one, and he'd won his second major, and he won it by 8 shots. He won the US Open by 8 shots, which is outrageous.
Of course.
I said, well, Tiger won it by 15, like nearly double.
Nearly lapped you.
Like how good you thought you played that week. He's nearly lapped you.
Wow.
You know, and
I
it's hard to get your head around that.
I bet he appreciated that that chat. He's like, thanks, Adam.
Well, he wasn't believing me. I'm like, all right, well, believe this, mate.
Yeah,
Here it
have
is.
that.
Yeah.
So in that era then, to win a tournament that Tiger was in, you'd have to be, or guys have to be on their A game, and then Tiger be on his like B game to get that win.
Basically, yeah. I mean, he was winning tournaments with average game for sure, and when he was playing really good, you know, let's look at just the majors. He won by 15, 12, 8 here at St Andrews.
Yep.
Host of other tournaments by more than 5, and you hardly see anyone run away with a tournament these days. You know, it's a much more level pegging.
Yeah, I must admit, there's a lot more playoffs like these days, or
one-shot
victories and things like that. You know, even obviously someone like Scott Scheffler at the moment, who's on an incredible form.
Unreal.
He's not winning by 10.
No.
He's winning by 1 or 2. You know, it's not happening all the time like that, really. So obviously you've played, this is coming up to 84 majors.
Yeah.
But the big one, the Masters, when you won it.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been a relief, I guess, for you. I'm guessing also the biggest event of your career.
Yeah.
How did that kind of feel at the time? How does it feel now when you look back at it?
I think at the time it was so satisfying. You know, we'll call that the prime of my career. Hopefully there's still some of that left, but we'll call that the prime for now.
At the moment.
Yeah, at the moment. And, you know, there'd been so much in the lead up to it, you know, like a few years of actually believing that I'm good enough to win a major, you know, the real belief, the real self-belief inside, not just the dream.
Of course.
You know?
And maybe not even the media hype or what other people are telling you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to believe it.
Yeah.
You in yourself have to believe I can do it.
Was it 2011 to 15? I think you had 11 top 10s in the majors.
Right.
So you on a serious hot streak. So you must have known leading up to that, like, I can do this.
Yeah, I think 2011 I finished second in the Masters, and I played really good. I shot 67 on Sunday, but it was Schwartzel birdied the last 4 and beat me, and that never happened before. But it was that moment where it was like, okay, you can really do this.
Yeah, that was apart from a very freak 4 holes, or you would have won it. Do you know what I mean?
Felt like that to me, at least. But it was at that point, it was like, no, you're really ready to do this. And then the next year was Lytham at the Open, where I bogeyed the last 4 and lost, and that was a heartbreaker. And still can't believe it happened. But there was like this moment after that where I just went then on a mission. Then it was like, no, this can't be the story for me, you know. And the PGA was soon after that back then, but Rory won at Kiowa, and then it was the 8 months until the Masters. But through that whole time, I was pretty much just on a mission of, you know, I'll get it the next one. You know, and I was at a point where the head down and focus, and I did whatever I had to do. And I remember, like, from that January leading into that Masters in 13, there was a really strong vibe going on around my training and my coach and everything, and we knew something was going to happen. We just were, you know, the enthusiasm was high, and we were just pushing hard.
You must have had a really strong mindset then, and positive after that, obviously at Lytham, 4 bogeys and just missing out, to then go, right, this is my time, I'm going to continue to work. That must have been some real resilience, because I guess some guys' heads could have gone down after that.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it was, the positive was even more than the Masters, where Schwartzel birdied the last 4. Lytham was all on my bat, you know, and I controlled this major. It was all up to me, and that was even more belief, like, you're ready to do this. Just got to keep getting in that position. And I had the recipe, you know, so I just had to find a little something that I missed there at Lytham at the end. It was really soft bogeys. Like, it wasn't like a horror show of bad shots and stuff. It was just so soft. And it's like, you've got to identify and be really tough on your critiquing your performance, and I can get more relaxed in a pressure situation and like cruise even more, and at a major, that can catch you out because the penalty for a mistake is much more and the pressure is much more too. So, I learned a lot out of Lytham. I had to, but I knew like, well, I'm playing better than everybody else, and I can determine the outcome of these tourneys.
I can really sympathise with you.
Yeah.
So recently I do a series called Break 75.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is to try and shoot Break 75, and I double bogeyed the last for a 75 at Royal Lytham. So
it's a hard hole.
I can feel your pain.
18 is a very difficult hole. No one realizes how hard a hole that is. When Ernie made birdie there that day, that was a freak.
There was probably 3 people watching and a seagull.
Yeah.
I hit the worst tee shot of my life. Went in the bunker that was like 180 yards away.
That was a bad one.
Really bad shot. Left it in. But anyway, it's not about
me. Golf course.
It is. It's a very bunker filled golf course.
I love. Obviously, that golf course is phenomenal. But I got in so many bunkers. I was getting angry at how many there actually are in good places as well. It's catch your ball.
Yeah, I remember in 2013, obviously when you won the Masters, it was like, I think you are such a fan favourite that the whole golfing community was like, yes.
Yeah, it felt like that. Thanks. Yeah, it did. I have really strong, vivid memories going down the 10th in the playoff, and it was a real raw crowd of emotion. It was like low cloud, drizzling rain, kind of cool, and people were just yelling and cheering and really getting into it. The golf was good with me and Cabrera in the playoff and stuff, but I felt like everyone was like
on your
trying to get me over the line because Lytham was pretty fresh still at that point for everybody, and it was a shocker. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's hard to think that I let that slip away, because as a proud kind of top player, you want to have like this, you want to be bulletproof almost, you don't want to show that you might have a weakness to anybody else, and that's a pretty big one. So it was important for me to kind of come back and win, but it did feel like that. It was really it felt like a really popular win, which is
looked
nice.
Like Cabrera was happy for you. I mean, obviously he was devastated to lose, but the way he embraced you as well, he obviously respected you massively.
Yeah, well, we've had a good relationship on International Presidents Cup teams, and I played with him as a partner on the team, and we'd known each other from European Tour days. When I came over here in the early 2000s, he was on the European Tour, and he obviously has gone on and won some, and he's a big time player, and I actually played with him that week on Thursday, Friday, that he was my first 2-round draw. So
So you played a lot of golf with him that week?
That week I did.
We've said in the podcast before that like when an elite golfer, or any golfer, I have to be elite, but wins a major, it puts them in a different light, and you solidify them as they're a major champion. Is that how it feels for you guys on tour? When a wins a major, you almost put them on a separate kind of pedestal that they're now joining that elite club of major winners?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just gone down that path. I think, when Tiger came out and he identified his goal, he had Nicklaus's 18 majors pinned up on his bedroom wall, and Tiger made a big deal about majors off the back of everyone considering Jack the best with the best major record. It's just taken them to be what everyone's career is measured by.
It's the goal mark, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And I think Tiger's done so much, had such an impact on the game, but because he outlined that and he went out after it, and it's incredible that he didn't yet get to 18
yet,
but he got so close. I never count him out.
No, I know, it's crazy.
You can't, but he got up there so quickly that it just became the standard.
You've got one of the most iconic pictures, though, on the 18th green at Augusta. When the rain is drizzling down, you've got your green jacket on, you've got your arms spread out wide. That is, when I think about major Masters winners, that is in the top 3 of my pictures that come to my head, because it's so unbelievably iconic.
Yeah.
Like, do you have that anywhere in your house?
That's it. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
As soon as you walk in your house, it's there. I'd have 100-foot canvas,
100%.
on that
Exactly,
picture.
yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it was a lucky one to get because, funny how things happen. Like, you think of the Masters and you think of beautiful flowers and, the birds are chirping and the music and stuff. And there I am in a playoff and it's like grey and rainy and nearly dark. Like, we couldn't have played another hole. So it was lucky the putt went in. And then, so you've won and now you get the ceremonies. Now, there was no prize giving on the green or anything. It was too late. They just walked me and Bubba out there. Bubba put the jacket on and I stood there. I didn't know. And I just, obviously happy. And the club's photographer was the only photographer like behind all the photographers taking the front.
Because the shadow is so long. We had Sir Nick Faldo on the podcast recently, and he was talking to us about the Masters dinner the day before, on the Wednesday, and we found out so much. Is it Wednesday or Tuesday?
It's Tuesday night.
We found out so much about it, how like crazy. Where do you sit in the room? Because apparently everyone's got their own set place, and it gets split into like continents, right? Where are you? Where are you in this kind of mix?
Yeah, so there are a few seats that are like absolutely, reserved.
They're
reserved seating without, you don't sit in Jack's seat.
Yeah.
Don't sit in Tiger's seat. And then everyone else kind of ends up in a similar place year after year. And the year that you win and you're hosting the dinner, you're up the head of the table for that one time. And then you've got to go find your seat, which is also daunting. And I just ran down the left side to Trevor Immelman. We've been buddies since junior golfers. And I'm like, right, I'm going to sit next to my mate for the rest of our lives at this dinner. It's just going to be epic.
So sick.
And so
I got like goosebumps then.
So
That's actually a really, really cool. Like, I'm going to sit next to my mate every year for the rest of our lives.
so good.
Yeah,
because you can.
Yeah, I know.
And you deserve
they're
it.
They're gonna have to write letters to get me out of that tournament. But I'm too old to make it round 18. They're gonna be like, Adam, you've played enough here, mate. You got to stop.
Your time's up.
Yeah, but
and do you think that would be because we've had a little chat about on the podcast about Sandy Lyle playing in the Masters and how maybe is it the time to retire? How hard is that decision? Like, is obviously you're not there just yet because you're competing still, and you've still got chances to win. Obviously, when does it get to a point where you're like, I think this is the time I need to hang it up? Or do you have
it must be. It's got to be hard. I mean, it's so special for all those guys in that room you see on that evening. Again, all remind each other how special it is to be in that Masters Club, is what it's called, and started by Hogan long time ago, and I think that's got to be an incredibly hard decision because it's not like he can't actually get it around the course. He's pretty long too, still Sandy. But it's I think it's a real balance, and generally, Augusta National do a really good job of keeping the tradition and what the Masters started as, and being the best competition it can be too. And I think there's got to be a little wiggle room for some of the champions to keep playing.
I think the thing that changed my mind the most, I didn't know it at the time when we did the podcast, he's not taking anyone else's spot, is he?
I don't think so.
So it's not like the Open where a past champion would actually take somebody else's spot. Yeah. So I think that kind of gives him obviously a lot of leeway in the fact that any of the champions, that you're not taking a spot off somebody who could be competitive in it or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of wiggle room there, and if that changed, then we got to look at it. But some of all those traditions and the amateurs playing and being a big part of the event, a lot is talked about what Bobby Jones and Clifford Roberts started with. So I like some of that still. There's got to be a place for that.
Does it have a different feel now, obviously, as a past champion go into the Masters? Does the week have a different feel to it? Because obviously you still want to be competitive and do as well as you can, but do you look forward to it more for things like the Champions Dinner as well?
Yep. Yep, everything.
The green jacket.
You just love it. Yeah, I put it on every day, because you can.
And it stays in the locker there. That's something
it stays at the club.
That's something we learned from
Faldo. Have you got a replica at home?
What's that?
You get like a replica.
Yeah, replica. Everything's green at home. I'd already planned it, but it was even better. But I built a house back around the time I won the Masters, and I painted it green too. So yeah, I have green cars, a green house, everything.
Magnolia house.
That's right. Lots of guys have azaleas planted at their house at home, like just because they're the popular flower from the Masters.
Does any other major have this kind of club feel to it then when you win? Like, if a guy's won the Open?
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I'll tell you after I win the Open.
No, but is it like, do you know for the other majors, do they seem to have that kind of feel? Because it does feel like when you become a Masters champion, you are part of this real club. But from the outside in, I think the Open do have a dinner, don't they, for past champions? But I've not heard any stories about any, like, never heard of a USPGA champions having that kind of club or anything like that. Do these things happen, or?
Well, they all have dinners now, I think, which is nice because, they are special events, and I think it is nice to go down memory lane for all the guys and be recognised. There's no doubt the Masters Club is, the most exclusive in the game for whatever reason. Something about the green jacket, something about the way Augusta National has run this event for 80 years or so now. So it's a good one to be in.
Well, it really is.
Yeah.
I must admit, like, if you're going to win any, that and the Open, really.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the
No,
same
I
as
agree.
you, but that's
Well,
the Open.
interestingly, when growing up as a kid, watching golf in Australia, Greg Norman was number one in the world, and he had so many close calls at Augusta. But I watched him win the Open twice, and the Open was special. And the UK and Australia's always had a close connection, so the Open was always like the really, really special one. And the Masters was amazing, but my guy never won it.
Yeah.
So the Open was big for me, and then obviously going to the Masters and playing. I mean, I'm not being picky, but I'm pretty happy with the green jacket. But if a claret jug at at St Andrews, sorry,
It's a nice ring to it,
I mean,
doesn't it?
yeah,
It has a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
100, just
We'll have
100
another conversation.
150th.
Exactly.
Well, we hear a lot as well. We spoke to other golfers before, and they've kind of said that leading up to a major, they try and treat it with the same preparation as other events. Mentally, that they don't want to get themselves too excited. But is that really the case? Do you go into this week thinking this is the one? It's the 150th at St Andrews. It's the Open. Does it feel different?
Yeah, I think all the little extras are nice, but even if it wasn't at St Andrews, if it was the Open last year, I think from what my experience is, you need to take your game up a level from where it is. Some people fool themselves and bring the pressure off, and that's absolutely fine strategy too. But you have to know, I think, as a competitor, that you've prepared well enough, even if you're then bringing your expectation down. My shoulder's sore or whatever, and you're kind of playing within yourself. I think you truly will know whether you've actually done the preparation, that your game can sustain a level through a major test. Because even if it's just the pressure, it's more. It's hard to fool yourself when you're out there playing that, or the penalty is more severe. The course is set up tougher. It's the ultimate test of a golfer.
And I suppose the crowd gives it that energy as well. They know how big a deal it is.
Yeah, and it could be the best crowd in golf, the Open.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of people do.
In fact, I think it probably is. It has to be.
Is that just because they're kind of their golf knowledge again? Like, they understand what actually a good shot is in certain situations.
Yeah. I believe so. Yeah, and there's a real appreciation for that good shot to 30 feet. If it is 30 feet, it's nice, and that's a nice thing when you're walking up to the green and you're feeling good and you're getting a bit of feedback for it too. It's a nice thing.
I suppose the difference is as well. Let's say it was a PGA Tour event in beautiful sunshine, and I feel like, and I don't know if I've actually been to an event in the US. I've been to the Masters, but I don't think I've been to just a standard PGA.
Just started at the Masters.
I just started straight there.
It's downhill a little bit after that, mate.
It was Sunday 2018.
Went.
Yeah. Patrick Reed won it.
Patrick Reed, yeah.
So there was what I was trying to get to there. Take that out of consideration. I feel like the crowd at a lot of PGA Tour events are going, because it's a sporting event.
Yeah.
They're going for a bit of food, like, it's more like it's a sporting event and the golf's kind of happening.
Mm-hmm.
Where somewhere like the Open this year, I don't think they've ever had as much hospitality. So that will still be going on.
Yeah.
But doesn't matter if it's a cold, rainy Thursday morning, that grandstand on number 1 will be packed, full of spectators wrapped up with the little kind of ponchos on or whatever it may be. And they'll be watching, they'll be listening to it on the radio, they'll have the course planner out. They're going for the golf. Like, it's not for the drinks and the showbiz side of it. They're going because they want to watch the best of the best. Enjoy that test. And I think that's where you do get that incredible crowd at a place like the Open.
Like you said, you hit a 5-iron to like 30 foot. People know it's an amazing golf shot and they'll clap.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the walk up 18th holes at the Open, the way they do the stands,
clever, isn't it?
Brilliant. And I think it makes a different sound. You know,
does it really?
Like on television, I feel like the roar at an Open is like a real roar.
Yeah.
And
like an amphitheater.
And it's a different sound than other tournaments. It's truly special, the Open. I mean, it's so brilliant. And this one's going to be a cracker.
How nervous do you get?
Yeah, pretty nervous. Like, first tee nerves are big for me.
Like trying to explain that, because I think to a lot of viewers, obviously a lot of viewers get first tee nerves. Yeah. I genuinely believe everybody in the world gets first tee nerves. But for someone like you, this is your 84th major champion.
I know, yeah, but my first tee nerve, I could literally top it or like put out about. What's your worst nightmare when you're stood over a ball? Because surely you're thinking might be a bit thin or something. It's not like you're gonna go OB on 1 or anything.
Well, I'm not gonna say anything. You know, like let's just
bounce it off Russell.
One thing I will say, you know, like a little less nervous on the first tee at St Andrews because it could be a 5-iron.
Yeah.
You know, I can handle that, and it's like hitting into a driving range. So, you know, I should be able to handle this one. But first tee, it's just a build up, and because, you know, you want to do well, it's what you've been thinking about, it's what you're working, and you know, it's the little bit of anxiety and nervous energy and everything, and it's the start. I think by the time you're getting around to 18, even if you're in contention, even if the Open's on the line coming down the last, it's a different nervous than teeing off. I'm way more in control once I've played out there. You know, I feel like, but it can last like on a bad day, like when maybe the game's not quite there, maybe the head's not quite there, and now you're out for the Open, but you want to do well, even if you shouldn't be thinking that. They can last a few holes. It can take you a few holes to really calm down, and you can do a lot of damage to your score in those few holes.
So you obviously, Thursday is understandable, the first shot of the tournament. Does it continue on like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday first tee? Obviously Sunday if you're really in contention.
I think it's a lot less. I think, you know, you do get yourself under control. It's a lot less. But a funny story, when I qualified for the Open here in 2000, first major, and I think I had like a 3 o'clock tee time on Thursday anyway. Nice. It's all really baked out and dry. 5-iron off the first. I mean, couldn't get better, you know, can't really mess this up. Then I go 5-iron down there, perfect. And the pin's just over the burn there, and had a pretty good yardage, nothing, but it was just a lob wedge. Hit the shot, I'm watching it, I'm going, sit down, as it's bouncing toward the burn. I completely fatted it, and it rolled in the burn, and I doubled the first.
Oh, welcome to major golf.
Just terrible.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but I won't forget it. It was just a shock. I'm like, oh my God, I've just laid the sod over the lobber.
I genuinely think a lot of listeners and viewers will appreciate that honesty about first tee nerves, because I think, you know, I think when you're a 18 handicapper playing in your local tournament, you're thinking you're the only person in the world that has first tee nerves. Yeah. But it's quite the opposite. Everybody has it. Everybody.
I have to think so. You know, I definitely the first tee at Augusta is the most nervous I get all year. I think it's just a build up. You know, it's been a long time since a major, and it's, you know, I'm thinking I'm going out to win or whatever it is, and it's a pretty tough first hole. It's hard. Everything about it's hard. The tee shot's hard. The second shot's hard. The green is one of the hardest greens to putt on the course, and you know, you're jangling basically. So, you know, it can all get away from you pretty quick.
And it's a proper shoot out of the spectators.
Oh yeah.
Like obviously the old course, the spectators on the first tee are quite a bit out of the way. But Augusta, I look at it sometimes on TV and go, oh, no, I wouldn't fancy this. not even if I'm hitting it well.
It's a very understated first tee announcement as well, isn't it? The Masters.
Yeah.
It's very like, is it 4, please?
Yeah, it's almost like, is anyone watching? I can just sneak off here. No one's watching.
I'm just gonna go off early, guys.
Yeah.
That's mental.
Just last thing on majors then maybe, but like that spell you had from, was it 11 to 15 where it was like ridiculously competitive. You hear again, I think you said earlier on, another golfer say how they kind of want to get the game to the A game ready for the majors. How do you actually do that? Like, how do you get your game to its best possible point for the majors? Is it just a practice routine? Is it mentally? How do you actually do it?
Yeah, I think everyone's got their ways of getting ready, and I think I had a pretty good recipe going through that period of time. I found some stuff that worked and I didn't fiddle with it too much. I just let it kind of build and accumulate. I kept doing the same stuff and the momentum was going and I was getting better and better and better. And at that time I liked the range. Like I like hitting balls. I can get into a good session, 300 or 400 balls. I love it. I can stand out there and hit balls all day. I really like a good range session. And at that time, there were a couple of things I was working on, especially before Lytham, and I was hitting like 2 shag bags of balls a day for like 2 weeks leading into the Lytham week, and just grooving my swing. It was just like in the groove. And I was doing all the other right kind of stuff, the training and the treatment and everything. And it was all in a good place. And, most like top athletes, the ones I've spoken to, they all say their performance comes from the preparation. And then you get there and you just go out and do what you're naturally good at. You don't have
to think then, do you?
Yeah, no. And it's all done. And that's where the mental strength comes from. It's like, it's all the work beforehand. My mental, I guess, discipline came from being disciplined of going to the gym on the day, like, don't want to do it. But you go and you get it done, or you hit that bag of balls the day that you didn't want to do it, and you just keep accumulating. There's also a time to know when, you got to stop because, you're sick or your hand's bleeding, because we all have a lot of similar traits, like professional. You get a bit obsessive about stuff. You can see it. Guys get a bit obsessed about the gym, or get a bit obsessed about hitting balls or a certain action and a move. And it's just, we all have that trait, I think, being professional and competitive and doing stuff over and over again. So you got to know when you've taken it too far as well.
I suppose it is like, if you're prepared for something, you are just better.
Yeah.
When you just know, if you can look back and go, I've done everything I could to be prepared for this situation.
Yeah.
Therefore, your confidence level boosts through the roof and you think, I couldn't have done anything more. If it doesn't go to plan, I've done everything I could have done.
Well, most recently for me, the best one recently was at the US Open. I went up straight from Memorial. I flew over to Brookline, played Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the week after Memorial tournament. And my first look at Brookline, I was like, what is going on out here? You can't see anything off the tee. You don't see a ball finish on the green. I couldn't believe it. And then Tuesday, I got my head around it a bit. And Wednesday, I'm like, right, I've got this course figured out. And I left and went away and did a bit of practice and chilled for the rest of the week to get ready for the US Open. And came back, didn't touch the course on Monday or Tuesday, and just played a few holes on Wednesday. And I had this great strategy for the golf course. Really simple. Like, it's a tricky course. You don't see a lot. The only number I got for the week was the front edge of the green. I didn't look at a pin the whole week. All I had to do was fly the ball over the front edge and it would be fine. And it was the easiest, simplest way to play the course. Now, I didn't hit enough fairways to win the tournament. I think I finished 13th or something. But I was so prepared. Like, that 3 days was so valuable because then I was just calm. Yeah. And I walked probably into that US Open the calmest I've walked onto a major in a long time, maybe ever. I just felt so confident with like my approach to the thing. Wow. So sometimes you figure it out.
Talking about confidence, back in 2014, you were world number 1. Does that bring a level of confidence that you are the best golfer in the world, or does it come with added pressure?
It was pretty short-lived, unfortunately for me. I think
It was a few. How long was it though?
It's 11 weeks.
A couple months, something like that. It's
11 weeks more than anyone else in the crew.
It really is a great accomplishment. It was like the kid dreaming. I was going to be world number one. And like I said, for the first 10 years, it seemed like completely impossible that was ever going to happen. Tiger was playing and it was just basically not happening.
Yeah.
So then it was like a few years of chipping away at this thing and finally getting there. And it's an amazing accomplishment to stand there and think, right now, no one on the planet is better than me.
Does that give you confidence?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like winning a tournament, I can't tell you how much confidence that gives you. And I think about the confidence I get from winning a tournament. Then I think like Tiger won every third tournament for 10 years. I mean, just joking. How much confidence did he have? You know, I can't imagine. Like, if I win a tournament, I think I'm never going to lose again. You know?
We could hit a good shot. We could hit a good drive and think we're never going to hit it offline again. Yeah. It does. You're right. It does. It takes 1,000 shots to build confidence, but also one to kind of shatter it a little bit as well. But yeah, I think it was just an interesting take because I'm not sure. Sometimes I reckon a lot of others might answer that and say, well, as number one, you feel like you've got a target on your back. Like you're the guy to chase down. Yeah. And that almost comes with a level of pressure that's sometimes hard to kind of maybe control or manage. I can see that. Certainly if, you know, you're prolonged number one and, you know, it becomes a thing like, okay, you're 50 weeks in, Jason Day or whatever, like everyone's gunning for you now. It was like a fun period for me. Yeah. Like the week I went to number one, I wasn't meant to play, but I thought, if I don't play, it's possible someone else goes to number one who's playing. Yeah. So I entered the tournament. I'm like, I have to play as number one. And I actually won the tournament that week. So that's how I managed to kind of hang on for a few more weeks. But, you know, it felt like I've got to play as number one in the world. You know, it might not be the case again. So that was a fun thing. And actually, Steve was caddying for me at the time. And he'd gone home to New Zealand. And I said, hey, I'm going to play. So he's had to fly back over. No. To America? Yeah,
to America. And it was Colonial. And he's like, why are you playing? It's not a good course for you. I said, I'm playing because I want to play as number one in the world. And he's like, oh, you know, he's done it all, of course. Yeah, of course. You know, he's done everything. And he's like, And we were 4 over after 9 on Thursday. He's like, I told you this was a bad idea. I told you this was a bad idea.
You say that on the course?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
And I'm like, right, I'll show you then. So we scraped in, made the cut and won the tournament on the weekend.
I was happy then.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That is so funny. We're quite into equipment here on the show, and our audiences as well. You've had the biggest change of equipment this year, or last year, was it? End of last year?
No, this year really. I didn't actually change any equipment starting this year, but that's kind of just evolved throughout the year.
Now. You've got a lot of newer clubs in the bag.
Yeah.
It seems to be creating a bit of a storm online. These sexy looking irons you put in the bag.
Yeah,
these AS irons.
Yeah.
Are they Miura?
They are. Yeah.
And did you have much say into these? I'm guessing you did because they've got your initials on the back.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I was with Titleist for 21 years, a full staff player, and the reality is that they don't last. It doesn't last forever, and it got to the point at the end of last year where I had some more freedom, so they built me an incredible set of irons at the back end of last year, but in conjunction with that, I'd asked Miura to also build. I didn't know what was going to happen, so I asked Miura to build a set of irons, and I tested them, Miura's initially, and I liked a lot about it, but I was used to the look of the Titleist iron. I'd used them for 7 or 8 or 9 years, and
it was quite commonly known you were using you didn't always use the latest blades.
Was it 681s or something? They were.
Yeah, so they were 681s, which is the iron Tiger used at Titleist really early days. So they're a really old style looking blade, much wider sole, much more offset than probably most of the modern clubs. When I pick up modern clubs today, there's no offset for me. I grew up with a lot of offset. Like a Ping i2 iron doesn't bother me at all. Like I'm happy to see.
Really?
The only thing it's the other way around with better players, don't you? Ricky Fowler's got some with 0 offset.
Well, he's like onset almost. It's so bizarre that all the guys now are learning with none. And I think there's some science in that. Like they're saying, you don't want that like club coming in behind the shaft for deviation and all this kind of stuff that I don't really know much about. But I just grew up playing with offset, and that's what I like. So that's what I know.
You think someone who again, famously have used the most butter knife blades in the game, that the offset would offend you, that potentially you said about the Ping I2s there, you really wouldn't like the look of those because there's almost too much kind of help with this offset, but it's actually quite the opposite.
Well, I think most clubs in the 80s and 90s had plenty of offset. I think there was a lot in there, and even on the blades, if you look at really old blades, there was a fair bit of offset in the irons. So that's what I grew up with, and that's kind of what I like looking at.
So why Miura?
Well, they have a good reputation, really of making a high quality club, and I was interested in investigating that. And after I hit the first set and said, look, I like how they feel, and I like the sole, which is something I've been looking at stats and trying to figure out why I have better stats at some places than others into the green. I asked them if they'd kind of start working more towards my look. So I sent them a set of my Titleist to have a look at and see if they could shape something similar, which they did. They're not exact copies at all of the Titleist.
No, obviously for legal reasons.
Yeah, I don't, well, yeah.
I'm joking.
I don't know what they do, but
we'll just get it in there anyway.
Does Miura himself make the irons for you then, or was it his team, or?
I honestly don't know. I just, I said, this is what it's got to be.
Yeah.
If you want there to be a chance of me using it, it has to be something like this. Let's start there before you tell me how much more you know. I know you know more than me, but I've got to look at it and hit it.
Do they feel different? Because I've heard they feel very good.
They're incredibly solid. Yeah.
They get hit twice, don't they, in the forging process, apparently. Documentary.
So you know more than me too.
You know what would be really funny if they came into you and went, right, Adam, we're going to make you so much longer, straighter. We're going to make you both like more accurate. You definitely need this brand new set of Miuras.
Yeah.
You for a good price.
Well, the funny thing is, when I got the first set to hit, they said, don't be surprised if you hit them further because they're so solid, even though they're the same loss.
And did you want to?
No, I'm not really. But he was just trying to forewarn me. But I think it's pretty funny. Like they think they are so solid that you might actually get a little more distance out of it. It's but they've gone well. I've used them in 2 events so far, and my statistics with the iron play have been incredibly strong with them. So it's been a good move at the moment.
It's not just the cosmetic.
No,
they look nice.
And look, that was a surprise to me because I really didn't expect that because I don't have any relationship other than they're kindly making a set of clubs for me, so it wasn't really about that at all.
Clever marketing from them, isn't it? Really, it's clever marketing. If you've not seen them, we'll put an image up, or if you're listening, Google it, and it's literally got your logo, your A&S logo on the back. They do look phenomenal. I'm looking forward to seeing them today.
Obviously, you were Titleist for the 20 odd years, and Titleist make amazing clubs from drive right through to ball. We all know that, but is it kind of in some ways a nice feeling being mixed bag, just choosing whatever you want and having different brands in
some ways it's a nice feeling for sure. And I'm still a contracted Titleist player. I play the ball and FootJoy, so I still have an ongoing relationship with this company for now 20 plus years, which I'm really proud of, to be honest.
It's amazing achievement.
They've been incredible supporters to me and fantastic, so I'm really happy for that. But it is a nice feeling to just kind of be on my own terms at this point in my career and just be in control. And I think what's interesting is, I started this year with the freedom to do whatever I want, but I hadn't changed a thing. It was all the same as last year. And then, a couple months in, curiosity had the better of me, and it's like I played with Tommy or I played with someone who's hitting a stealth. Let me have a hit of that. But it is. Then you open this door to potential testing, which is a never-ending cycle if you get into it.
Welcome to Rick's world.
Thousands of shafts and heads and settings and all kinds of stuff. It's mental. So I just did a really little bit and got to a comfortable spot.
Are brands coming to you and pushing their product on you a little bit? Like suddenly a Callaway coming, Adam, I think you could hit this driver. Are they kind of like trying to potentially get product in your hands as well?
Certainly early on the range this year on tour, I met a lot of new faces.
Like that fresh blood. Yeah, guys who you'd never spoke to for 20 years
They've given
on
up
tour.
on me. They've given up on me, honestly.
Suddenly
for
like,
20.
we've got him. We're going to get a driver in his hand. So yeah, that must be quite, like I say, it is tricky because you could make it complicated where in the past you've gone, well, I've got 2 drivers to choose from or a couple, maybe a few years old, because I think you've been quite hard to change sometimes, I guess.
It is. I mean, I think it is hard to change on a regular basis. Like if you get something good, you want to just keep going with that. And I think we've seen pretty much the proof is in the pudding, like guys who are really peaking out, like when Jason Day was on tear, or Brooks, he was just using this stuff. And Brooks wasn't even contracted to use stuff most of that time. He won majors. So, you got to find what works and you stick with it. And like you've form a relationship with these clubs,
We see it, obviously, I'm guessing, when you first came on tour and even through to the last maybe 5 or 6 years, it was very common that guys have full through-the-bag deals with one brand or whatever it might be. Probably since Nike stopped making clubs, I've seen it a lot more now that guys like Brooks Koepka was doing it where they're using a bit more of what they want, and that's becoming more of a popular thing. Is that because guys are more open to it now, thinking actually that might be a better strategy? Or is it because people now are making almost more money through other deals and other sponsors that they don't need to sacrifice having a club deal as such?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
I think it's just like the evolution of the pro game. There's lots changing, obviously, now. Lots happening, but also with the equipment stuff. And there was, if you go back, I remember when it all became full club deal. Like when I first turned pro, there was a lot of freedom, and it was almost like, you like that, we'll just stamp whatever on it, and it's not even close to available to anyone to buy. But as long as it says Titleist on it, almost, there was a lot of freedom to have like really customized stuff, and it's really built for the pro. And then there was a period where, that just ended, and it was like, here's this stuff, it's going to be in the shop, this is what you're using, we'll figure it out, it's all adjustable, and we'll get it sorted for you. And I think, it's because of things like you said, like the money's getting so big, and guys realize, it's detrimental to their career to like sacrifice the fairway woods, for example. I'm just picking stuff, but the fairway woods, because you've got to be in a 14 club deal to get this contract, but like the prize money is so mega now. Like if you play good 1 week, you're probably going to make that contract up in 1 week. So yeah, there's the balance point, but you do want to be well supported onto it, and as well with the equipment. Like you need to have some support of if things go wrong, and that is nice. Titleist still offer me that kind of full support out there too. Yeah,
That's what
I
Tommy
must
said,
admit
didn't
that really changed my mind on contracted players. We had Tommy on, and he said almost like the
it's like an F1 team support.
they're like
almost.
the mechanics.
Yeah.
So they're going in and looking at his numbers and going, we feel like you can improve in this area by this product, but they're doing it for sole purpose of performance.
Yeah.
It's obviously not trying to sell products, but it's for full performance benefit. And I look back at it and thought, oh yeah, I hadn't really ever thought of it like that. They're making these fine, tiny tweaks all the time to get their driver, as in the golfer, the best equipment, i.e. the car, to make it perform the best. And I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much more sense. I suppose the other thing you would mention then, how I think social media has probably stopped these brands being able to just stamp Titleist on any product or other, because there's so much more close-up imagery now, and there's so much more that's leaked out into Twitter and Instagram that you can go, oh, that's not the club that they're saying that it should be. Do you know what I mean? So they probably had to be a little bit more stringent on the actual product that's being sold. Really,
one thing I really like that I'm sure that you have done this or still do, Titleist do, is what the players often use an older version of the ball because they still like that more. You use was it a 15?
I use 15V. Yeah, I think I'm the only guy using it.
Well,
actually,
that's cool that they still produce that for you, because
you're still using that right now.
Yeah. No one used it, and I think it was unpopular because it kind of got known as like the short Pro V1. Like no Pro V1's ever really been short, but it was like that Pro V1 in 15 versus the X had the biggest gap, and so it was unpopular, and I'm the only guy who.
Why do you like it then?
Because it spins a lot.
Right.
Yeah, and I've just, again, You know, I turned pro. I was using a professional 90 when I turned pro. There wasn't even a Pro V on the range. So, you know, that spun a lot. So, like, where I started to learn the game was with a lot of spin, and this ball doesn't spin anywhere near like a professional 90. But once you get into, like, the current V1 and V1X, you know, they have such a big engine. It's such a different launch window. They're so hot. It's like, it's a big step for me to, like, kind of almost change my whole way I approach hitting shots and the window that I see them in and flighting them. And I think my iron play generally, like my distance control is up there on the tour with anyone's, and I feel like I'd be sacrificing a lot to, like, make a big change. You know, I'm just in my comfort zone, really.
Do they still
like,
make that ball? I know there's got a massive stash that's got your name on it.
Hopefully they're making it still, and they're not like 7-year-old stale ones.
you know
They're
what?
not. They're unbelievable. They're looking after me. I know they're fresh.
Look at the wear out.
No, I think they're Titleist Pro V1 2022 ball.
They just never
but they go,
sold you.
bloody hell. Just
Placebo
stamp
effect.
the bloody 15 on there,
Yeah.
please. You'll never know.
No, exactly. I wouldn't surprise me. I say that stuff. We're shockers, golf pros. I mean, honestly, I did change in like 17 to the 17V, and I was playing really good in 16, and I just switched it out, and this is good, and straight away, like, everything went downhill the next 6 months. And I said to 40 Pitts, has looked after me at Titleist on the ball for my whole career, I said, you have the right to punch me if I ever change ball again.
I've got a tactic that you can use. So I'm known on my channel for cutting golf balls open.
Okay.
I'll send you a present of some ball cutters.
Yeah, perfect.
And then when they send you a box, you can cut them open
Yeah.
just to double
Just
check.
to check. Yeah.
I'm just going to check this one. Check this is still number 2015. Right now, in the year 2022, do you think it's the best time to be a professional golfer in the game of golf?
Probably yes. I mean, generally, things are always getting better. You know, like, not even in golf, everything seems to be getting better. So probably it's the best time. I mean, maybe everyone can say this, but looking back, I think, man, I came along at the best time. Tiger just turned pro. I mean, look how that. So I've just hopped on the coattails of Tiger Woods for the last 20 years, and getting to experience all that he's brought to the game of golf, but also getting to watch him and play with him and against him in that kind of period where I just don't see guys play at a higher level now, but not with the separation like he had, you know. So I feel really lucky to be in them. But if I was a young pro now, I think it's an epic time to be out there. There's so much good stuff happening. You can get so good so quick now. The learning curve is way, way shorter.
Is that because people have the new pros coming up have got experience and they've watched guys like you, they've watched like guys like Tiger and Rory for the last 15, 20 years and gone, okay, I can learn what he did there. I can learn how they performed at the highest level. I can see how he worked out in the gym. I can see how he maintained such a great form for so long. And they can go, well, we'll just do that, but also advance it.
Yeah,
we won't make the mistakes that you guys might have made, or the guys 20 years, 40 years ago would have made.
Well, they should be doing all that. Like, they should be learning. But also, I think there's so many things. It's not just one thing, but the equipment's good, the data analysis. These kids come out of college, and they're 4 years of just having numbers explained to them, and if it's not being detrimental to them to think about that, they're playing like 10-year season pros, smart course management. I think the best example I can give of that somewhat recently is when Jordan Spieth came out. The guy played like a 15-year veteran the first year on tour, and you couldn't have picked that he's coming out and winning 3 majors the first 4 years on tour. But he played so smart in the head. A
bit like Colin Morikawa.
Yeah.
As well, more recently, he's 2-time major winner, and he's so wet behind the ears.
Yeah,
like he's only been on tour a few years.
And then, if you look at we were in Royal Liverpool the other day. There's a picture of the Walker Cup team from 2017, and you look at the US boys, and then obviously Morikawa, Scotty Scheffler. Who else? There's somebody else on there as well. There's some guy.
Sam Burns, probably.
I think possibly Sam Burns.
I want to say Matt Wolf, but was he not?
He was probably around that time. Oh no,
there was
Vic's the same age too. Victor's unbelievable player as well.
Hovland.
They've got it all figured out really quick, you know, and there's people to help them do that, and then they've got to go out and do it, obviously. But I think, you know, now the information that guys are getting young is really, really helpful if they can process it and use it to their advantage. So, and they come out too. The big difference I feel like is they come out, and even though, you know, you watch Rory tee off and you're like, pfft, but it doesn't really like intimidate them because they hit at 320. Like Rory hits at 350, and then Colin nuts one out there like 310, 320 anyway with his little strong fade, you know. And it's like no one's really doing anything that no one else can do, you know.
In your time, then obviously Tiger, we'll put him to one side. Who has been a golf that you've looked at and just thought like, wow, they hit it just differently?
Really?
Yeah, I have about 5 guys on my list that when I played with them earlier in my career, I'm like, okay,
I want to be better than them.
Okay, like this is, you know, stuff that I'm not sure I can do. You know,
Go on, who are your 5?
Tiger was the first one.
Ernie.
Ernie, I played with a lot in tournaments early on, and he's played 3 of the best rounds of golf I've ever seen when I've been playing with him. And one of them was a 60 at Royal Melbourne in the Heineken Classic in like 2004. It's the most outrageous round of golf I've ever seen. Just pure, just everything under control. You know, drawing 3 irons into the green the right way, holding 6 irons on, you know, into a little wind, and putting. His short game was superb. I think maybe the best hands on a club I've seen is Ernie.
Wow.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing golf with him, and he was nice to play with because the rhythm, like you could watch, and I mean he was hitting it far in that like 2003, 2004. He was a really dominant player, but you know, he did it easy. It was nice to watch, and I could feed off playing with him. Whereas like Tiger, in the end, my tactic was to not watch. I just had to turn my back, you know, like it was all intimidating and the crowd and everything. And I'm just like in my bag looking for stuff while he's hitting.
Rustling tees.
Yeah.
Well, did it make, I'm sure it didn't, but did it make the what happened at Lytham slightly less painful because Ernie did end up taking victory, or was that?
Kinda. It sounds nice. It's pretty painful.
Yeah.
It's a painful loss, but it's nice. Like, Ernie should be a 4-time major champion. I'm not gifting him one, but you know, I am pleased it was him that won.
Yeah. Go on then. Who's your next 3?
I'd say VJ. I mean, his ball striking in the early 2000s. Like I remember being on the range in Boston, watching him, got the bottle, the umbrella, you know, the whole thing he was doing, and he was hitting 5 irons on the range in Boston at the tournament, and I just had to stop and watch, and it was just ball flight after ball flight, just piercing.
And he hits a lot of balls, right?
Yeah, and it was just so solid. I thought that was really good stuff. Davis Love was the big surprise to me when I first played with him, because he's won a major and he's been a great player and a Ryder Cup star, and he won a lot of tournaments on it, but pretty overlooked, I'd say. And I played with him. I was like, wow, this guy really strikes the ball, really can strike the ball. And he impressed me that round.
And one more? I think there's one more, yeah.
Do I have one more?
Tiger, Ernie, VJ, Davis Love.
Yeah. Well, Mickelson, I played with a lot in majors through the 2000s. Thursday, Friday pairing, we seem to, you know, we've joked about it. We always get paired. We got paired together for like 10 years.
I think I know why it is.
Go on.
He always wears black, and you quite partial to beige and neutral colours.
I nearly wore the
so you kind of like quite contrasted. You need somebody who always wears like a blue, and Mickelson's the one in black. Right. Scott's the one in beige.
I love beige.
What is that? What was that story about this jumper?
I saw a comment like, "Why is he wearing that again? Because he's a dad and he's given up on life." Or something.
Wow.
It's epic.
You've not exactly got a dad bod, and like it's not exactly like you've let yourself go. Why? Was there any story?
There was. It was cold that week in LA, and that was the sweater I had. So you know, I had 2 of them actually. There was 2, but you know, that beige sweater every day. I think it got a little bit out of hand because the next day I had an event and I wore it to that, and there was some media of that. And the next day,
you did it on purpose now, aren't you? You just wind
well,
it up
I
now.
did on the Tuesday. There was an event on the Tuesday too, and I thought, right now it's getting some traction. I'm gonna, I'll get everyone wound up. But yeah, it's unbelievable what people pick up and run with.
We're teeing off soon, so we're going to fly through this very quickly. We're going to get some questions. Yes. Obviously, in the start of 2000, I just want to ask you one more bit. In the start of 2000, or certainly when Tiger came through, it was known for him to move the decimal point in golf. Like the financials, he moved it. It feels like right now the decimal point has probably moved again really recently. Do you think that does play a big part in these young golfers coming up and how they are playing for certain titles and differences these days? And is the competition harder to win because there is such a wide berth of talented golfers?
I think, Tiger definitely changed the decimal point, and it's been on an upward trajectory ever since. So, but I can say for myself, like coming down the stretch of a tournament to win, I've never thought about the prize money at that point.
Yeah.
It's about the trophy
at
that point. However, that's when you're on the course playing. But as a professional golfer, the reason you are a professional and what is separating you from the others is that you're playing for money. Yep. So money's a part of it. And, that is the case. So maybe off the course, you're making decisions based around money and the decimal point or whatever. So, but I don't see it just bleeding over to affecting how you play. I've never thought on the last green of the Players, for like this is $1 million putt or whatever. That's not crossed my mind. So I think it's become attractive, obviously, for a lot of people to come and try and play golf, and kids getting pushed to play young too because there is big money in it, and it's getting bigger, it seems. So it does have an impact, but I don't think it affects people's play as much as you would imagine. Like, especially top players. Yeah. There isn't a top player out there coming down the last at the Masters thinking, this is for $3 million
you're not
or something.
You're not playing for your mortgage, are you?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Where when you're on the rise, you are doing. And when you first turn pro, you're really trying to, you have to make money. It's so important. But like I say, once you get into, you've been on tour for a long time, I'm guessing it's not as big a deal. Do you know what I mean? To make that.
It's not as big a deal, no, for sure. I think, it's an interesting thing, and I think there's a lot to shake out as we sit here today. Like, let's see how things shake out over the next 12 or 18 months with just how pro golf structures up now. And then what trickle down effect that has. Because I think that's important too. Like, it's always going to be good for the top guys at the top of the world. Yep. But let's see how the trickle down effect is. I think that's a really important part of the pro game because, whether you're seeing the Euro Pro Tour and these guys scratching it out to try and get a start and pay some bills, but they're probably a lot of doing other stuff as well.
Of course.
And then, where does it go? And it would be good to see with all this injection that the trickle down effect is having a really positive effect on the pro game.
Where pro and real grassroots. Like you just talking about at the moment, the golf course in Ireland, where was it? At Lahinch.
It's
got 600 junior members.
Like, just amazing.
Like, so imagine the cash injection there. Like, imagine the cash injection in junior golf and development of the future stars. Like, it could be phenomenal. Like, it could really. Golf is booming. It really is. Last few years, golf is booming. General play is up massively. Professional golf is getting more eyeballs than it's ever got before. Yeah. But it'd be so good to kind of push that back into, like you say, get more kids into it, make it more accessible, and that's where we might see that trickle down from the top, because it's got to start from the top. Yeah, and hopefully it will do. It'll get into the right places.
I'd kind of throw it out there, like, COVID saw this huge uptake in rounds of golf played. I mean, who would have predicted it? But
no way.
But the challenge now is for like our governing bodies and administrators is, how do we keep them playing now? Because if we get back to normal life and people have a lot of work again and going into the office and doing all that, they're going to run out of time to play golf. So we've got to be smart now while we have them. Like we've got to keep them on the hook. And my challenge to all the leaders in the game would be like, what are we doing to keep them? Because they're just going to go away otherwise if we don't change, because they weren't here before. You know, it was just COVID that got everyone into it, which is, you know, like a silver lining of the whole pandemic. But for golf, it could be fantastic. And there are lots of things happening in the game at the moment that could keep peak interest, let's say.
So I've got a business proposition for you then.
Here we go.
If you want to be an investor.
Yeah.
Rick's Quick Six.
Rick's Quick Six.
Working title.
He's asked for a lot of investors so far, Adam, and no one's signed up.
Yeah.
So
We
might need a little more info.
We build really fun
6-minute abs, or
I could do with them as well. 6-hole golf courses that are fun, easy to play, and there's different levels to it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see not different tees, but different hole sizes.
Yeah.
So you have like a standard hole for your good golfers. You have a slightly bigger hole, like a bucket hole. And then you have like your foot golf hole for your like your higher handicappers.
Yeah, for sure.
Floodlit, bit of music blaring, but not too loud. Mm-hmm. Okay, we can put a bit of country on, or you know, whatever it may be.
A bit of R&B.
You know, it's fun. It's no dress code. It takes an hour to play. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
To speed up the process, we'll put conveyor belts between the tee and the green, like you get at an airport.
Just cruise.
This is new, by the way.
Just
bit.
Cruise.
Yeah, just change it.
No, just cruise down them. Yeah.
So
no fitness in it at all. No.
How much investment are you looking
jog
for?
if you want.
How much investment for what percentage of share of the company?
Is this like Shark Tank?
Yeah,
I'm looking for 17.5 million investment.
5%.
For 5%. Yeah.
Please, 1%, and we'll negotiate from there. And I'll not leave this room until we get a yes. But I think things like that would be so much more fun.
We've got to start doing some other things, and again, you know, I'd say to the governing bodies of the game, we got to look at that kind of stuff, and you know, they're in a good financial position, these governing bodies at the moment, thanks to all the success that golf's had, and they've got to look at, you know, I know there's a big thing, and I just sit here, it's simple for me, I don't have to think about it, it's not my job, but how they allocate it and do some studies and go and take over some struggling courses and change the model a bit and see what works where, and stuff like that's good.
Rick's Quick Six.
Yeah, Rick's Quick Six could be the thing. Absolutely.
We got that.
I like it.
Let's clip that one bit.
Yeah.
Adam Scott endorses Rick's Quick Six.
Look, generally, I think it would. Yeah, I just think we got to do stuff like that. You know, back to La Hinch, where I was just out the other day, they've got, you know, they call it like the St Andrews of Ireland, La Hinch, but then they've got this 600 juniors and this cool teaching facility with a pitching area. But then they have the other course, and I'm going to whiff on the name of what they call that course, but it's like got 6 par 3, 6 par 5, and it's all really short, fun. You know, that's where the kids play mostly and learn the game, and it just looks so good, you know. And I think, you know, everywhere we've got to keep doing that. I look back at my time as a junior in Australia, and it seemed very accessible and very welcomed as juniors, and there were great junior programs, and you know, I just have a feeling it's just not quite the same today.
Talking about startups and kind of getting something to get more people into the golf game, you've got a bit of a startup kind of business going on as a little side hustle at the moment, haven't you?
Yeah, it's getting to that point. That's when, you know, like, oh, okay, Adam, you know, you're at the end of your career now. But yeah, so, you know, again, in COVID, there was time, and here we go. I was thinking it's a dangerous thing. And a buddy of mine who just got back into golf after not playing for really since high school, got back in. He's gone deep, you know, as you can do. You just get right into it. And, you know, let's try and do something and see. And it started out as something really small and, you know, fun, and it's turned into something a bit bigger. And basically, you know, going with the technology world, we've been doing some content stuff on YouTube under Fairgame, and there is something coming out soon with Fairgame that's hopefully going to be what people want to kind of hang on their phone who are golfers and connect communities. And, you know, from my side of things, it was like, I've got all these buddies all around the world that play golf, and it's hard to keep in touch with them all, and I never see how they're playing, and I wanted to build something that I would use. And then he wanted to build something that he would use, and we're coming from two really different places in the game of golf. So I think it's going to be something that everyone will really enjoy using.
So almost a bit like Strava for golf.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to describe it.
That's quite a cool way of doing it. So it's almost like a bit of a social network.
It is.
You might be able to meet up with other golfers in your area and play golf together and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got lots of ideas coming, but basically it's a social network. And as much as you can use it on the course if you want, it's also something that you'd use off the golf course and like kind of be your go-to, where you hang and catch up with your golf buddies, and almost like a clubhouse on your phone.
It's more excuse for Rick to be on his phone.
Can I just give you a little excuse though? Can I just give you a little bit of advice?
Please.
I'm not sure if the YouTube game's going to work out for you, Adam.
No, I don't think so.
I just think, you're all right at golf.
No, I'm really not.
You're decent at golf. Yeah, you've won a Masters and this, that, and the other. But leave the YouTube for the professionals.
Yeah, I will.
As I stumbled my lines there at the end. I'm only joking.
No.
But I think there's more pros coming into YouTube, social media.
Yeah, it's good.
It's great for golf. There's more golf being on YouTube.
See, the personalities more of the golfers, as well, I've not seen before very much. And now with you guys coming on things like this and other guys making YouTube content, you get to know the golfer more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, YouTube is kind of the platform that I've ended up gravitating towards. Not for golf stuff,
not for
but
golf
just
tips,
just generally. No, I've seen your tips. No, I'm looking forward to playing with you. I'm looking forward to playing with you soon. No, but and it's just where I've gone, and I'm not very active on all the other social stuff, but I think it is a good platform for golf to take advantage of.
We'll put a link in the description and the podcast as well if you want to check out Fairgame. It sounds like it's really exciting.
We had lots of questions. I don't know if this is a good sign or not. We've answered a lot of them in the podcast.
Oh, good.
Okay, well done.
We had one that
you are professional, actually, guys. Well done.
It's actually where we got all our questions from.
Yeah, nice.
We've got two that I want to ask though. There was one off a guy called John Cook who was saying that
the John Cook
saying what's the thing that you see most with amateurs playing? When you're playing pro-ams, you play with an amateur, what's the biggest thing you see them doing wrong that you could get kind of the most holistic piece of advice for people listening to this podcast or watching?
I think two things generally for amateurs at the golf course. One is expectation. That starts wrong most of the time. Like they're going to go out and have a good round. I think let's just have a fair round, like have a fair expectation, like back to that preparation stuff. Like if you've been in the office for the last 7 days, don't get your hopes up too high that you're going to hit every fairway and green out here.
Have a fair game.
Have a fair game.
Nice.
Yeah. He's a super pro. Hang on.
Deal on the podcast.
Yeah.
So we're gonna if you buy shares in Rick's Quick Six, I'll buy shares in Fair Game.
It's going to be Rick's Quick Six by Fairgame.
Love it.
No, yeah, and so I think expectation is a big thing. Like really, let's go out there and give yourself a chance. But the other thing I see like more from actually doing it is everyone under clubs.
Yeah, it's
so just common. Like you think it's a 7, just take a 6 and just swing the same, and I think it'll work out nicely for a lot of people.
Yeah. If you looked at stats for greens missed by amateur golfers, it's short.
Oh, for sure.
Short and right.
Yeah,
but
for
mainly
sure.
short a lot of the time.
Next question. I feel like the answer will just be because it works, but a lot of people have been asking, why do you use a broom handle putter?
Yeah. The simple answer is because it works, but the long story is, I was a really streaky putter. I was either really good or really poor, and it just after however many years, it was just like too frustrating, too much hard work, like making the rest of the game hard. And Brad Malone, my coach, kind of dangled it in front of me at home. I had a little like fake green in the backyard at home in Australia, and he went down to the golf shop and bought one, and like went out and putt with it. And of course I'm like, oh yeah, what's that? What you got there? Next minute I'm out there rocking the shoulders with it, and it was just like a fresh start for it. I was just 10 years in to had tried everything, some success, a lot of frustration, and it was a real fresh start for me, and it's generally been really solid. Actually, I'd say since I went back to it after the anchor ban and I cut the putter shorter and it's kind of floating, let's say now, I think it's better than anchored.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's freed up all putts, but certainly longer putts are better.
I guess anchoring is hard on long putts.
Yeah, it can get in the way a bit. I mean, it was really long. You know, the old one was like 49 inches. I mean, it's a long, long club, and this is now down to 45, so it's like a driver.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got a little bit into like the science and research of the putt. You know, MOI has been a big thing in putting for 10 or 12 years, let's say.
Yeah.
And like when the head size gets big, it gets really stable, and I've looked into that. So, you know, it's been slow development, like with a broomstick, because no one really makes many of them or sells many of them. Yeah. So it's not like a hot thing for Scotty Cameron to knock broomsticks up. But, you know, I did have a lot of support from them, and I pushed them hard to like try stuff and get me to a point where I felt like I've got a really, really good putter. And the last couple of years, like I said, since it's been not anchored, I mean, my stats are probably consistently the best in my career. So I feel like I'm in a real good spot with it.
Perfect.
Makes sense.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
More questions? Is that pretty much it?
We've covered
everything?
a lot there. There's a lot on the jumper as well, but Rick covered that. So
I'm glad I didn't wear the beige one today. I mean, it's in the same family. Are we kind of?
We can
mustard.
change the colour.
We're going to mustard.
Change the colour.
Yeah.
We're teeing off in 10 minutes.
Right, that's perfect.
So we best shoot.
Are you loose?
Loose I'll ever be.
Yeah.
We're going to do a challenge. I'm going to start 10 on the par. You're going to be level par.
Sounds
We're playing
fair.
Kings Barnes. We're playing off the backs.
Oh, we better be.
Yeah. Off the back. Well, you are.
Just before this ends, I've got one little apology to make to Adam. I've not told you this story yet. I wanted to say it for the podcast. As a child, I was up 11 or 12, maybe even 11 or 12, at Wentworth PGA. So I think it was Volvo actually. It was the time. It was the Volvo PGA. You gave me a golf ball. I was a little fan. You gave me a golf ball, and it was either the professional 90 or the first year of Pro V1. Just set it on at the side. 392 Pro V1. I kept it at home, obviously, as a gift from Adam Scott. And then one day I decided to use it at the golf club and lost it.
Are you asking me for another golf ball?
Yes, I absolutely am.
Well, I've got one of them old Pro V 2015 ones
please.
for you.
Adam's like, oh yeah, you were the lad in the black jumper, weren't you, on the side of 14?
I remember you.
You didn't. I didn't give it you. You nicked it. I wonder where that ball went. Well, thank you, Adam, for your time. You've been amazing. Honestly, it's been great diving into the history and also what's to come in the future. I'm excited to play with you because, like I say, your golf swing's ridiculous, and I might have to do what you did to Tiger. I'm gonna have to turn around today, and when you hit, just go. It sounded all right, because I think you'll intimidate me. But we'll go and find out. The video's going to come out soon. Good luck in the Open this week.
Yes,
we really are rooting for you. I'm sure all the fans, everyone listening and watching, will be rooting for you as well. Good luck with the app, and we'll get on the golf course.
Yeah, been a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
So much.